All right, I'm sharing my screen. I need y'all to let me know when y'all can see the screen. At least two of y'all. Cool.
Yep.
Craig, see it? Okay, good, excellent. All right, the Black Gold Nation presents cinematic connections for revolutionary change, an engaging, enlightening, and entertaining assessment of movies as it relates to the forward progress of Black people in America, Africa, and the diaspora. What is the Black Gold Nation movement? The Black Gold Nation movement is an international organization that seeks to liberate and save Black people by establishing our own towns/cities, whereby we control the environment to make our people bigger, better, and stronger. It is our contention in this movement that when we allow other people to control our environment, we lose. When we allow other people to control any aspect of our environment, we lose. So when we allow other people to control the economic systems, the political systems, the educational systems, the spiritual systems, we always seem to find ourselves on the bottom and other people on top. So since we want to reverse that, because we, those of us in this movement, are tired of being on the bottom, we believe that when Black people are in control, we will not do just fine, as history has proven, but we will outperform other people. So we want to make sure that our people are in a position to own and control the space where we live, so we can do our own thing as we see fit. Why we came to be, based on the understandings, teachings, practices, and strategies of past and current organizations that our leadership has lived, studied, and or taught, and the need to continue doing. We build upon the successes minus the mistakes to provide our people solutions that work now to implement a 100-year plan to build power. Because everyone that's come before us, all of our great leaders and organizations, since all of them were trying to do a very righteous thing, a very necessary thing, but all of them failed for whatever reason, that means that that righteous work, that necessary work, is incomplete and still has to be done. So that means that it is on us, those adults that are alive right now in 2020 moving forward, it's on us to pick up the banner, pick up the baton where they left off, and run our leg of the race as best we can, to build upon the successes that they all had, because all of them were successful to a certain extent, but not have the same gaps and our holes in our solution moving forward. And we have to ensure that we have a 100-year plan that's going to make the leg that we run in this race for liberation and salvation a successful leg. And more importantly, we can give the results of what we run in our leg to our children, who can add to our 100-year plan with their 100-year plan, so that as a people, we will always be 100 years out as it relates to building, maintaining, and expanding upon power, because power is the only thing that's going to protect us from what is happening to us, or what has happened to us, help us heal, organize, educate, train, and move forward, so that we can get back to running and ruling the planet as we used to back in the day. So with that, I'm going to turn this thing over to Brother Craig Lee, who's going to break down this movie for us, American Made. All right, Brother Craig, it's on you.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. And hopefully you guys are having a great start to your weekend. And as we were just beginning to get into overall discussion of movies in general, as Sister Fabu was talking about it, we of course want to begin today's discussion as we always do. We everybody giving their overview of what they saw in this particular movie. As I told you guys 2 weeks ago, is a companion piece to the movie that we saw 2 weeks ago, which was Kill the Message. And hopefully you all were able to connect the dots with that. So we can begin with the first overview. What you thought about
it? Sisters always first. There's only two of y'all.
And I'm going to defer to Tara.
All right, Tara. She's put you in the hot seat. Tara driving.
Oh, she driving?
Yeah, she's on her way to an AAU event. She might be inside or something.
Come on, girl. You can do this. You can drive and tell us your overview. Come on now. Yeah, I know if you got two boys and you following them around the world, I know damn well you can do this. So tell us your overview. Oh, maybe not. You breaking up.
Yeah, your connection's bad, Tara.
Yeah, your connection bad. Maybe not. Okay, Saved by the Bell.
Nah, go ahead, Fabu. It's not working.
Okay, well, I was like I was saying earlier, it's interesting, and I'm glad that Brother Craig helped me connect the dots to Kill the Messenger. You know what I mean? Because it then there again reaffirms that America is gangster.
Yep.
I mean, all their movies, if we would stop looking at them as entertainment and look at them for what they are. I mean, there are entertainment movies, don't get me wrong. You know, and I do know the difference. I know movies that are done solely for entertainment.
Sure.
But they putting it in the form of entertainment right in our face. And then the thing, and they also showing you can get in bed with me if you want to, but when we get through with you, we gonna kill you.
Yeah. When we get through, we through.
When we ain't got no more, because one of the questions I was gonna ask, I'll say, but that's my overview. That's my overview. I mean, like, they not playing. Right. And if they killing their own, if those white boys that they using end up being collateral damage and they don't care, and like that little goofy one at the end of the America, he said, Iran, that's who we can. He said, shit, let's just get another white boy.
That's right. Yeah.
And all of them say that. And if we don't see that they don't care about their own, we in big trouble. Right.
That was my takeaway. Ultimately, at the end of it, just like you said, Sister Fabu, how gangster, not gangster, how gangsta, as Brother Craig said, how gangster they are. Because if it were not for the CIA, Tom Cruise was minding his own business, doing his own thing with them little cigars. If they had never approached him in the first place, there's no way in hell he would have been able to do all that stuff.
Well, do you notice who they picked? You know, they went to that little podunk town, but he was the top of his class.
Right. Somebody with some skill. Yeah, who since he was already breaking the law, they figured he might be open to breaking the law some more. So
and he was at money.
Obviously. And so it's not just how they recruit you and how they use you up. But how they not only they spit you out and move on to the next person, but I was reminded from the movie Kill the Messenger and from books that I've read in the past, is that is what they do. They did it with Noriega, they did it with Saddam Hussein, they did it with Osama bin Laden. So they will be your friend to get what they want. And then they will turn against you. And when Ronald Reagan was making this speech about the Sandinistas and what they're trying to do in international drugs, all they have to do is make the claim, and the whole American population will get behind that president. And at that point, you are public enemy number one. So when they showed I guess Hispanic South American the hitters in the airport about to come to America, that's when I said, if you're going to do this thing with America, you got to have your own team of hitters, because at some point they're going to come. You got to be ready to blast.
And that's why I like that new brother song, Toby, Ninga, whatever. He say, try Jesus. Have y'all heard that?
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
That's why I say, try Jesus. Don't try me. He said, because I lay hands and it ain't Reiki, baby.
That's right. So
it ain't Reiki.
That was my takeaway. Great movie.
Yeah, and when you, and I suggest you guys go pull up information on Barry Seal, because it's fascinating. Another Louisiana, and he took it to the next level. So let's start out with the title of the movie, American Made. What do you think about when you see the title of the movie, American Made, in relation to the film?
Teacher.
What do y'all think about this?
I thought, since Sisters Always Go and it's just the four of us.
That's right.
I thought Made in America. The minute I saw that, I thought of everything. It just came back to me that, yes, all the criminals, the low level in your communities, all of them learned it by watching America. So we are really made, whatever we are as a pride. When I mean that real broadly and real general. Okay. So, okay, real broad and regional. Whatever we are is because we are our environment, which is why we say BGN is so important, that with BGN, we need to control our own environment. So it just, I'm like, I'm getting lost words. I'm overexcited that we are studying these kinds of things.
Yep.
And that, I don't know, man.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, because I'm about at a loss, because I'm starting to feel, and this is what, since some people talk about empaths, I'm starting to feel what Jesus must have felt when he looked over Jerusalem and wept.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
Yes, it's like all this stuff is right in our face. But anyway, that's it. Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead, Tamara.
I got that American made in America, made by America. America made him who he was, what he did. And I was thinking, Lord have mercy, if that is not entrapment, I don't know what is. So that's my takeaway. America made him, made in America.
Yeah, and definitely both of you are right. But when you even look at it deeper, American made, the hypocrisy, the corruption, the game that Jorge, David, and Pablo were playing, the United States created that game.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The Europeans created the game, and so they made their chess move, and then the United States responded,
right?
Because they made it all. And here these guys were playing in their game, but the whole game was made in America, made in Europe, advanced in America, and I mean, so you look at the different micro elements that's in the game. Money laundering, made in America. Deceit, deception, on a high level, made in America. I mean, all of this shit was made. Somebody referenced when Reagan spoke, the usage of the media to go against the truth, made in America. All of these particular things were metaphor. That title is a metaphor for so many different aspects of life in this particular hellhole that we're in. And similar to Kill the Messenger, American Made starts out dealing with actual footage of President Jimmy Carter speaking. And again, just like Kill the Messenger, showing you the hypocrisy and showing you that this goes all the way up to the top. Because as you would have it, as the movie was coming to a close, and Barry thought he was going to go initially to jail, and they got him out, and then he went all the way to Washington. So it starts out with the top level hypocrisy, and it goes as the movie is closing all the way back. Do you all remember when Barry was confronted by the CIA agent at the airport? Do you all remember what the CIA agent told him? There were 3 sentences, short sentences, that the guy told Barry after he let him know, we know you're smuggling cigars.
Right.
And it first it fucked him up that he knew what his name was.
Yep.
And the guy was acting as if, he was just in the airport.
Right. Yeah.
You had been under surveillance for a long time.
Yes, sir.
So when people believe that they're hiding certain things, now mind you, this is back in 1978. 1980s.
Yep.
You know, late 1970s, really, when you start to piece it all together, when you read up on it. So that's with limited technology.
Right.
Just imagine now.
Yeah.
It's like recording.
And to that point, Brother Craig, it was interesting to me on the other side, and hopefully I'm not getting too far. Hopefully, yeah. Well, on the other side, the cartel was also doing intel on what was happening in Barry's life, which means you got to have the intel because they knew also. You talking about your brother-in-law?
Well, that's what I was gonna say. I don't remember, and this always, I guess, and this comes from me being a woman, and because there's just certain things that's gonna stick out at me because I'm a woman. Now, I don't know whether it was one of his sentences or one of the questions that he used to let him know that we serious and we know who you are and we can get you where it hurts the most. He called his wife's name.
Oh yeah, he definitely.
And that brought his family, and that's when he was, if I remember correctly, he was leaning under that airplane wheel or the wing or whatever, and he called her name. If that's the right scene.
No, you talking about the scene? You talking about the scene in the actual airport, right, Craig? When he was having a drink at the bar?
Yeah, sitting there. Okay, yeah.
The original scene when they're in the airport.
But and he showed him the box of.
The three sentences he said. Number one, he said, the revolution is in the air.
Mm.
Oh, yeah.
Which is why Barry was so important.
Right.
And when you read about Barry Steele, he was definitely a pilot. He got his license as a teenager. And when you read up on him, the dude could fly. His flight instructor said that he was just a naturally gifted flyer, and he could think, because you had to be able to think doing what he had to do. So that was the first sentence. The revolution is in the air. Then he said, we are building nations.
Right.
We're building nations. You're muted, Sister Parker.
Okay, now so he said we're building nations.
Exactly, because the United States in their propaganda is always pushing what? Democracy.
Democracy.
And people in the United States don't even know what the fuck that is. They don't even know what capitalism is. They don't know what democracy. They don't know what communism is. So that's when I learned, with all these, 50 PhDs in niggerology, niggermetrics, niggerosis, proptosis, I've learned that the majority of people, when they hear a word, they've never researched or studied the term. They're really just doing word association. What they perceive, not what they think, but what they perceive and believe a word to mean. And that's why when you go back into your grade school, mindset, what you learn in grade school, secondary education, from elementary, junior high, high school to college, that's why they never focus on within the curriculum etymology, philology. They don't want you to really know what words mean. They just want you to have a basic perspective, and now they can manipulate these particular terms. They just start to throw them out there, and this is nothing that you really get into. For damn sure, you're not studying capitalism, you're not studying real estate, you're not studying finance, you're not studying political structures, you're not studying any of this in elementary, junior high, high school, and for the most part, college. Even when you're majoring in a business field, you do not get into the depth of what capitalism truly is. So because that's not your role. Your role is to just assume a position, as Barry was to assume a position in this overall deal. So we are building nations. Barry didn't know what the hell that meant. But the white boy was very excited to say it. And then the third sentence, he said, and I thought this was very funny, especially in connection with the title of the movie. It's America at its finest. and I thought it was interesting because it is America at its finest.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Deception, hypocrisy, and Brother Tamani just talked about it. And this is, bringing this to where we're at now, getting ready to go into this election. Man, when I make my post on Facebook, and I'll just offer sometimes a little commentary, and then I'll put the news article up, and Negroes literally, especially as we're dealing with this election, they do not even want to contemplate what I'm saying as I'm introducing the post. So it's like, I'm trying to get you to comprehend that you are in a game,
yep,
which is inside of a system, which is controlled by a philosophy. And they don't even want to touch it. And this movie shows when your ass don't comprehend the philosophy, the system, and the game that you're in, hey man, it has serious consequences for your ass.
And Brother Craig, to that point, how can you ever expect to win if you don't even want to think about the issue? You'd rather hope and pray that somebody is going to do it for you, or somebody is going to come back to do it for you, or take you off somewhere so you have to worry about. So we've been so screwed up mentally, brother, that we, I tell people that we're looking for three kinds of a black person with three traits. One, still able to critically think. That's the first one, because if you can't think, what are we gonna do with you? And our people don't want to think. We want to believe and have faith and hope and pray on crap.
So let's discuss that for a half a second. And you bring up a good point. You say our people don't even want to think. So we go back to what I just said in terms of knowing etymology, learning etymology and philology. Thinking is a practice, and it's not something that is directly taught. It is taught in an abstract, superficial way in elementary, junior high, high school, and in your household. I mean, just follow me. When did your parent ever sit you down and say, okay, Brother Tamani, Sister Papu, this is the thinking process. This is how this. When did that happen?
I'm still waiting for that to happen.
Yeah, me too. They didn't. My parents didn't kind of understand it themselves, so they couldn't. They did the best they could with what they had. And so you go to school and you learn it and come back and tell. That's what my parents told me. You go to school, you learn, and come back and tell us. And
that's all of us. It didn't happen at church, and it didn't happen in the home. And that's the first few places that you're supposed to get it. Because
can I ask a question right now on that? Because in some schools, but then it's a part of a competition. I don't understand why they do that, because they do that if you're a part of a spelling bee. They teach you about the origin of the words, and I don't know what's great. Well, for me, it started like the 5th grade, and they'll teach you the origin of the words and what they mean. So they do in some instances, but not everybody in that school gets it. So, but it is, well, at least it was my experience, let me say that, and dozens of others in the school, the elementary school that I was in. But I didn't get that again until I went to seminary, and we had to break down the words, break it down from the pre to the con, and what do you say, the denotation and connotation of the words.
Yep.
So I didn't get it again after I left. I wasn't as smart in senior high school, so I didn't get on the spelling bee in the debate team. I started wanting to experience the world. I didn't want to be smart no more. Okay, so they do. My whole thing is that you do get it, but it's a select few unless you're interested And that's the way it used to be. I don't know what they do now, but that was at a time in the 50s and 60s, you know, the late 50s and 60s. I don't know what they're going on. I said all that to say that I mean, there is other ways, even though we don't get it in the home.
Well, even the children that you're referencing, I was one of them with spelling bees and speeches and whatnot. You're not getting into the etymology of the word. You'll learn how to spell the word. You'll learn a basic definition that they give you, but they're not going to get into that word, because you got to remember, the people who are teaching you don't even know what the etymology and philology. So they're just regurgitating what they've been trained to do in college and whatnot, and then they're coming back to you. So it's just a repetitious cycle between the home, the church, and the school. And so that's the link. And so within that overall dynamic, this is how they perpetuate the overall game. And when you were saying earlier about Hollywood constantly bringing these same concepts to the forefront between the CIA, the FBI, you know, all of these particular groups, they're showing you that it never changes. It's always connected. And this film, you know, really showed that. And so, as Brother Tamani just referenced, the reason that Barry Seal was approached is because, hey, you're already committing criminal acts. And although it wasn't brought out in the movie, once he let it be known you're smuggling, in the movie it was Cuban cigars, but when you read up on him, it was not only that, but it was also marijuana and whatnot, because you're a pilot. And people know that pilots have some flexibility of not being checked, especially at that point in time before all the regulations came in. So he had to already have some vices in order for them to now step in it. So they had leverage on him, right? And that's why I tell people who want to, you know, perceptively play this game, be in the grassroots revolutionary game, you can't have nobody. I mean, you better be a social drinker at best. You better not be no alcoholic. You better not be on no kind of drugs. You better not, you better not have any kind of gambling issues, any kind of shit like that. And especially if your ass is a liar. You just you don't want to be in this world, because you'll get caught up. You're going to get caught up. And you gotta be bigger than that overall deal. So, but in this particular,
I have a question right there. Okay, so we named all of the vices that a person should not have, you know, if they're going to really be in this game. So then why do they, okay, we get all those vices. Why do they, in their game, they always send in as to me, they always send in a member of the opposite sex. If it's a woman they're using, then they're going to send a man.
Yeah.
So then when we speak of what we better not do, then wouldn't you say that we should also be in control of ourselves? Because that's what, they don't change that at all. That's one of the things that they use. They're going, if it's a man, they're going to send that woman.
When I talk about vices, I'm talking about all of that, because all of that is controlled, is a part of your lower nature. So we're talking drugs, we're talking sex, we're talking, you know, food, we're talking alcohol, we're talking anything that you do not have control over. But yeah, definitely in terms of the females, via males, they're gonna know through surveillance and observation if you are heterosexual, homosexual, how you maneuver. That's how they knew to set up Martin Luther King with a lot of those females. You see? So yeah, you have to be on point in terms of how you roll. Because if you're not, they're gonna find your weakness.
Yep.
And they will exploit it. And so it's not about being perfect, but it's about being in control of whatever it is you do. Because if it's out of control and you're doing a double agent type thing in front of the public, and then you're doing something else behind the scenes, that's how they get the leverage on it.
Yeah, and
if you're promoting,
I'm sorry, Craig, go ahead.
I was going to say, if you're promoting heterosexuality and you're doing homosexuality, like old boy in Atlanta with the big church before they got him, Eddie Long, if you're doing that, they got leverage on it. And that's how they can now start to pressure.
And that's another reason why, and that's another reason why it's so important that we not only have some insulation around ourselves as it relates to our overall needs and weaknesses or whatever, but we are attached to a strong group that knows us. Because if you are attached to a strong group that knows you, then they're going to help you with whatever you might be dealing with, and that makes it more difficult for others to come to you. Because if they know you got a drug problem, or that you're struggling to pay your bills, or that whatever, you know, if we can eliminate some of those life issues that are gateways for so many of our people to become an agent. And if you think about the how agents have been used to infiltrate, those brothers had records, those brothers had drug issues, those brothers are trying to make ends meet. But if the organization is eliminating those main things, then that makes it that much more difficult for them to be, made an agent by the government.
Well, and it's been my experience, although you are correct in terms of the organizational structure, the two things that, whether it's you yourself or the organizational structure, would have to focus on is spirituality and right.
Amen. Definitely.
Those spirituality is the only thing that will elevate you above all of the book. That's the only thing. Because without it, and it's been proven time and time again, religiosity cannot elevate you above all of your nature issues. It cannot.
Right.
It can't.
And that's what I was going to add. That's what I wanted to add to that too, is that even in that process, and even if you are insulated by a group that does, spirituality will make you be honest with yourself. Because you can go to that group and that group can tell you, and just depending on where you are on that spectrum, you could resist the group's analysis. You can, because it's free will. So spirituality will make you look at yourself and know that they really trying to help me. I gotta come honest with them so we can get this thing clear and move on up the road. Without that inner compass, and I'm wondering, is that inner compass something that could be taught or something that's to be nurtured?
Well, and I'm glad you asked the question, because that's where, as we seek to have this dialogue with Sister D, the other sister in Houston, yourself, and getting this whole spiritual piece down. And me and Tyra, we were just talking about this the other day, and I said Sister Pabu is a lot like me, from a female woman perspective. If you are spiritually inclined, if you are rooted, if you have unlocked, unleashed, and activated your spirituality, it ain't no matter how truth comes to you, whether it is hard, whether it is medium, whether it's soft. Sister Pabu, you and I get accused often. Oh, you're too hard. You're too hard on people. And it's so funny, because if you're serious about the truth, and I learned this early in my life, having coaches and band directors, nigga, it don't matter about your goddamn individual feelings. If a teacher is teaching you, they are teaching you. They're not trying to be friends with you to figure out how to teach you so that you can feel good about how they teach you. That ain't what the point is. Your parent and any parent who operates like that is a punk ass parent. Because it ain't about that. What you about to say, bro?
That reminds me of I don't know if it was either Che or my son or my middle daughter, my oldest daughter. She was I had to tell my kids, I am not your friend. I'm not here to be your buddy. I'm here to make sure your ass don't make stupid mistakes and you stay your ass on the right track. And it's funny because we live in that we live in the area that's mixed race, predominantly white. So they are seeing how their white friends talk to their parents. And I had to remind them, we don't do that here. And they were little. They were like 9, 10, 11. I'm like, that's not how we do it. I'm not your buddy. I'm not your friend. I'm your father and I love you. But my job is not to make sure you are okay with what I'm saying, because that's not why I'm here. And it's funny because when they would go to their friends' house, these white kids talk to their parents like they buddies. I'm like, ain't no way in hell. It didn't work when I was growing up, and it's not gonna work for you.
So then it goes back to my question, as we related to the movie, because it does get down to being, spiritual at the base of it. So my original question is that something, spirituality, is spirituality something that can be taught or nurtured?
Well, it has to be both, right?
And that's why I was saying, yes.
Yes.
And that's where we have to get in. Yeah, so that's yes. And nurtured the structure, the structure of that, this is where we have to bring this out, because this has never been brought out before. And those entities who talk about spirituality and confuse it with religiosity, they don't do a good job of that. Brother Tamani had referenced the fact that when you guys were in the shrine, there were members of the shrine who were also homosexual. So let's think about that. And I know Brother Tamani asked the question: Can you be homosexual and be for the movement? And the reality is, actually, no. You can perpetrate like you're for the movement, because you have to ask yourself, what is the movement? Is the movement the agenda as it relates to what we're putting down on paper first, or is the movement first and foremost the edification of the Creator? See, so if you're connected to the Creator, and because any legitimate movement, this is why none of our shit ever works, because the Creator is not first, which means that that's the spiritual connection. There's no way that you can promote homosexuality and also promote the true tenets of the movement to empower our people, because first and foremost, homosexuality, advocating that, would disallow you to even exist on the planet. So when you really start to sit and think about that, so now wait a minute. I'm promoting something that is anti the Creator, but because I'm here at the physical world and I might know how to write or I might know how to type, I'm a part of the movement. Okay, can you function and do certain assignments and whatnot in a movement? Yeah, you can do that. But are you actually a soldier in the movement, meaning that you embrace the tenets of the philosophy of the ideology of spirituality and right culture? If you are selling drugs to your people, no. If you're prostituting yourself, no. If you're homosexual, no. If you're raping little children, no. I don't give a damn what kind of skills you actually have. or what you perpetrate on the outside, Sister Fabu, the point that you just made, you would have to self-check. Spirituality forces you to self-check yourself. It forces you to say, hey man, I'm really a lying motherfucker. I lie a lot. And then you go to the organization, you say, hey man, what I really need help with is learning how to be a non-liar. You know, because this is why I started lying. And that means you gotta pull layers back. And most people don't want to pull layers back to get to the core.
It's hard. That's some hard shit to do though.
Exactly. So now what happens? The person says, Sister Fabu, Brother Tamani, Brother Craig, I need you all to cater your teaching style around what I like. But they're not going to be truthful as to why they can't receive truth regardless of how the fuck it comes. and a situation where you got to elevate. Because if you know a parent, I mean, my mother, I don't think in 52 years, next month I'll be 53. I don't think my mother has told me one time that she is loving me. And I don't need to fucking hear it. You know why? Because she showed me.
That's right.
So all this bullshit, the reason that guy is this way is because his mama never told him. He's never loved him or bullshit. That gets more around what Brother Tamani just said. When children see other fucked up children being raised a certain way, they want their parents to now mimic these things because it makes them feel good to see a child be able to tell their parent, fuck you. Or, you know, shit that would really automatically mean death when I was coming up. But this is how this rolls. And so within the overall dynamic, Sister Fabu, yes, spirituality is something, the practice of it, of being able to unlock, unleash, and activate it is something that can be taught. Right culture, damn sure, that has to be taught because it's a process that you have to get accustomed to. And that's what the United States is totally all about in terms of their everyday routine for 7365. They never deviate from how they roll. And that's what we got to be in that consistent. That's why I like how Tamani does his intros and whatnot. He's very focused on systematizing what we have to hear on a consistent basis, and that is a good thing. But getting back to the movie, they hired him to spy on the so-called Sandinistas. I want us to get into doing some background research on that because that comes up in multiple movies. And that's Daniel Ortega and the Sandinistas. But they hired him to do flybys in Nicaragua, El Salvador, all of these places. And then one of his other responsibilities was to give information to who?
Noriega, what?
He was being paid to give information to who down in South America?
Noriega,
right?
wasn't it?
Yeah,
Noriega.
Exactly. And when he first started, get this now. When he first started, what was Manuel Noriega's rank?
Colonel.
Colonel. Oh, okay.
It was Colonel.
He elevated to what?
General.
To the next level, yeah.
So who do you think helped them elevate from Colonel to General?
Donald Trump. The government.
Yeah.
State government.
The government.
Okay, I've got to ask this question right now, but y'all.
You muted, Fundi. You muted your phone.
Okay, I just need, because I want you in your review to tell me, because I remember that I was younger when all that was going on, and I know by most of the other people that the United States ended up, but why did they turn their back on that Noriega? You can, when you get through, that's the one question that's in my mind.
You already know the answer. Think about Think about what you know about America, how America operates. When America has a need, they come to you. When do they leave you alone?
When they don't need you anymore.
That's your answer. Think about it.
And that definitely is the macro answer. Specifically, it's related to this movie, Kill the Messenger. Noriega was a part, and you see it clearly in this. He was a part of the process of gaining intel to help sell dope in order to fund the agenda of the United States to overthrow different regimes. And more specifically, now remember, going into the latter part of the movie, they initially used the street gang, the Bloods, the Crips, to sell drugs to fund the overthrow of Ortega in Nicaragua.
Yep.
But then they shifted gears after that operation got shut down. They show you in this movie, they shifted gears to having the Iranians
yep.
supply the drugs and run that. That's where Noriega really takes on major and epic proportions. So now when it was time, when they got people start doing investigations into this, and you have whistleblowers, now we gotta shut the operation down. And now guess what? You're just a pawn for us anyway, Noriega. Now we gotta go on and create the illusion that we're getting rid of you in power. He probably in an island somewhere. But that's how they do it. Once the gig is up and they got to shift to another focus, as Brother Tamani is saying, that's when they now pull the ripcord on you, because they got to protect the system. They got to make it appear that they didn't know what the hell you're talking about. No matter all of this shit that's going on.
All the evidence.
Barry Seal would have nothing to do with bringing some damn Contra rebels all the way to no damn Mena, Arkansas.
Right.
I mean, what would be? We're talking about national security now.
Yep.
Okay. So the same with Noriega, the same with Osama bin Laden. You go back and pull the documentation up on the Carlyle group. The goddamn Carlyle group, this Osama bin Laden's family, they're in partnership with George Bush.
Yep.
And the Republicans and the Democrats. All of them are in bed together.
Yep.
But you got to create the illusion that they don't know when somebody snitches.
Right.
Then they got to kick your ass and then create the illusion that they're coming up with some legislation that's going to stop you.
And they so gangster with it, Craig. It's like, I remember when 9/11 happened, bin Laden family was here. They flew them, they flew them out of there and brought them here after 9/11, and he's supposed to be the perpetrator. It's like, God damn. Is no one seeing any of this? It's like, and it's right there. All of it.
So,
right
you
there.
know, I think then that's what BG. I think then that's.
Keep on going, sister.
I think then that's what should be BGN's position. And that's what the question I was going to ask that. Okay, those of us who are watching this and listening to you break down this stuff, very, very fabulous. And we see it, we get it. There's a reason for us breaking this stuff down. And, you know, for those who have ears to hear and eyes to see, when that portion of us get it, what is BGN's position that we should do with this? Because it's like Tamani said, for every first, whenever he doing whatever that thing is he be doing, he said, we ain't just doing this, it's the Revolutionary Code. We ain't just doing this for entertainment so you can understand there's something we want you to do with this. So I'm asking, what is that same thing with the review of the movies? You give us, and that is to those of us who have eyes to hear and eyes to see. You know what I'm trying to say.
it's a part of the curriculum as we start to get into the various work in the city. It's not to be promoted on like social media, anything like that, because you don't want them to totally understand that we understand. This is to teach our people so that as they now start to do work in Houston and wherever, Philadelphia, they are equipped to understand the dynamic layers that are involved in the process. So it's a part of your overall revolutionary curriculum training, the curriculum to help train you to be able to observe, see, understand how to be reserved in your conversation, the whole nine, as we now lay that out. So the movies, the books, or whatever we do is to make you a better empowerment advocate, a better revolutionary entity to execute whatever game plan we come up with specific to you being in your specific city, county, parish, state, and then connecting, that with the overall agenda.
Okay, and this is recorded, right? Because I was trying to write as fast as
Well,
I could.
yeah, it's recorded always, and it's always going to be on the website. But to keep it simple, we were talking a few days ago about I think that was Mayasa. When you are in CTG, the initial group in the church, Brother Craig, confirmation training group. When you're in CTG and you're about to go out doing COR, handing out flyers to people to get them to come to the church, they give you a little information as to what to say to people when you are giving them a flyer to get them to come visit the church. We're doing the same thing here, just on a higher level. Everything Brother Craig is doing, everything he does is about trying to get us to understand the philosophy, the system, and the game of capitalistic white supremacy and racism. Because if you do not understand that, you'll get caught up in the game aspects of it, think you're doing something and you ain't doing a goddamn thing, excuse my French. Right? So we cannot, how you gonna win if you don't understand the concepts of the game? How you gonna win? So he's always saying philosophy, system, and game of how this thing is structured, which you absolutely must understand, because if you don't understand it, you will never be able to get to the point where we can control some geographic space. The only thing that's going to keep us safe is to understand how the enemy operates, and the one thing that can keep us safe. But you cannot do that trying to extricate yourself from the system, because it's impossible. Like he says, you cannot run from white people. You got to understand how the game is played and build something inside the matrix, because the white man is everywhere. But if you understand the philosophy, the system, and the game, primarily the system, you can use that to your advantage if you understand the system.
And you know what's so crazy about this as we move to the next point? When you
the next point.
When you hear these idealistic ass people talk about separating themselves and whatnot, this shows you that they are basically stupid, and I can't even call them ignorant, because they've heard of Noriega, they've heard of Ortega, they've heard of Castro, they've heard of Hussein, they've heard of Gaddafi, they've heard of all these people. What's the common thread? Even if they don't even study the in-depth elements of how the United States maneuvered with all of those leaders, what's the common thread with all of those leaders? They were leaders of what?
Sovereign nations.
Sovereign fucking.
Ain't no freedom papers, Negro. You ain't gonna get no freedom papers. As a white man, you can't touch me because I got my freedom papers. Nigga, watch this. Click, clack. And Craig, it's so funny, man. I have a young brother, the brother I told you about, that I sent you guys the link. He wants to add us on his page with all that goddamn information. I'm like, nah, dude, we don't be lost in all that crap. His thing is that, Tamani, I love what you're doing. Black Gold need to be connected with this group because they're about to do something, sue America. I'm like, brother. And he's in his late 30s. He's like 38, 39. I'm like, man, it don't work that way. And as much information as he has, he has yet to make that simple connection. America don't give a shit about your sovereignty. Come on, man, really? But Craig, and you know this, they believe that shit to their core, which is sad.
And see, when you believe something, again, before you are taught how to think and critically think, you commit it to your fiber, your every fiber in your being, and it becomes an unfortunate impediment to you moving forward. But all of those people were leaders of sovereign nations.
Yes, sir.
And they put a foot in all of their asses.
Yeah, and not to even mention what they did to Stephen Biko.
Oh,
and any leader, Fundi, not just here in America, but any person around the world that they got a problem with.
Yeah. And so they're gonna put a foot in your ass. They're gonna keep the structure of the nation in place, and then they're going to put their leadership in place and back them financially and with intel for any potential uprising. And they're going to use the United States military, certain aspects of it, their elite forces, to help keep these people off your ass.
Yep. And
this is the game. So it's like, to now say you're going to run from these crackers, it's like it tells me that you're stupid, because it's not like you ain't heard of these people. It's not like you ain't heard of how they roll. But I get it. So we have to just, instead of going in the paint on them, just let them do what they do, and we have to do what we do.
Okay, Brother Craig, let me ask you a question so we can go on to the second point. Just what you said, the game, is it possible, not now, it's just something I'm asking you to think about. Is it possible to put the game, the idea, the concept of the game in 3 sentences? Not now, I mean, I'm just asking if that's a possibility. That's all I'm asking right now.
In 3 sentences?
Or paragraph. Yeah, just what you mean by the game. I mean, I'm just asking if it's possible. Okay, good. Okay.
Yeah, if he can, I can. If he can, I can, because it's simple to explain the game.
Okay, well, that'd be another. Okay, that's what I need. I need that.
And let me say this.
Don't do it now.
Right, I got you. Let me say this. Brother Craig, yourself, Fundi, and Brother Harlan, you guys operate on what, Fundi, you might be a little different, but Craig and Harlan in particular, they operate on another level of patience, right? So my job is to take what Brother Craig is giving and try and use my patience and understanding to get other people to understand. You see how he yawning? He don't have the patience. He'll say, nigga, you retarded, and he'll move on. He reminds me of sometimes in Wednesday night class when Cardinal Lou would ask a question and somebody give a stupid answer, he would look at him like, you really believe that? You know, so I gotta take what Craig is giving and be patient with the brothers and sisters that he don't have the patience for. And I understand that I got to give them an opportunity to understand and say no.
Well, guess what? You got 3 like that, cause you got 3, Harlan, me, and Craig. Cause Craig and Harlan remind me of Jeramogi. If you ever said it, and I'm telling you, go back and watch some of Jeramogi's thing. If you ever said in Jeramogi's a meeting with Jeramogi, he just like Brother Craig. But
I don't think you're as bad as them two. They need Jesus.
I don't know. You're probably right, because my energy is not that aggressive.
We gotta pray for Craig.
but you are in a precarious position. You are in the sandwich. You're right. Your role is to massage that patience.
Yeah.
That ain't my role. Okay. Right. That's why I don't want to be a leader. I'm gonna assist and I'm gonna consult.
That's what you think. Come on, Craig.
That's what makes Brother find it real good.
Yes. Yeah. I've seen him in action.
Oh, shit. Let's go with the movie. Let's go with the movie.
Yeah. So now, during one of his stops, Barry Seal for fuel in Colombia, he was taken by the hitman for the Medellin cartel to meet Pablo Escobar and his crew. And so there he meets Jorge Ochoa, Carlos Ladar, and then Pablo
Escobar, yeah.
do you all remember how much they told him he was going to get paid for flying?
Was it 1,000 per kilo?
2,000.
2,000? It was 2,000?
There you go, sister. 2,000 per kilo.
That
Y'all
boy say,
remember-
what?
Y'all remember how much a kilo, the weight of a kilo?
2.2 pounds, something like that?
Yeah.
2.5.
2.5?
So he agreed to move 200 keys per load, but they went up to 300 keys. So how much was he making on that first load? 300 keys at 2,000 a key.
Hold on, let me get my spreadsheet out.
Cause my brain too slow. I ain't gonna even tackle it down, but all I know is it's insane, filthy rich kind of money.
But that was
Hold on. Okay, 600,000.
Well,
Yeah, and it was obvious the kind of money he was making because they ran out of places to hide it.
Now, what that shows is that that's where he was limited on the business side.
Right.
He was limited on, he didn't know shit about offshore international investment. He didn't really have, I mean, he used banks, but he didn't have any type of offshore shit set up. And this is where you now have to have people who are in the nonprofit world.
Yep.
I mean, it's too many. See, now if you're building an organization with, let's just say, 1,000 people, you're building an organization. You're using an organization as a legitimate deal, but now you can pass the money to those particular individuals.
Yep.
But he didn't have a structure set up, so he was trying to hide the money on the price. It was retarded, but it is what it is. He knew what he was doing in terms of flying and logistics. He damn sure knew that.
Right.
So that was very important. He was able to maneuver because he was able to fly under radar detection. So that's what made him very important to the cartel. So now once he got caught smuggling drugs, the CIA then used him to do what?
To carry weapons.
Yep, to start smuggling weapons to the country.
Yep.
And now remember now, he had a meeting with the CIA agent at the cafe. And he asked the CIA agent if he had any children. And he said, no. He said, well, I'm going to need some more money. And the CIA agent told him, you're doing this for your country. And he's like, I'm going to need some more money. Because remember, his wife had just talked to him about health care benefits and all that. And so the CIA agent said, you'll figure it out.
Right, you'll work it out.
And shit, he worked it out. He figured it out. So once he got caught, they set him up to move to Mena, Arkansas.
Yep.
How many acres of land did they give him?
Initially? What,
Yeah.
Was it 100 or 1,000? 100 acres?
2,000 acres.
2,000 acres. Jeez, that's a lot of land.
A new plane and all of the money that had been seized, they gave him all that money. So when his wife was like, and this is the funny part, because she was pissed off having to move in the early part of the morning all the way to Mena, Arkansas. And he said, damn it, we need a stove. We need
boom. She was okay at that point.
Of course. All she wanted was to have her needs met.
That's right.
And he met them needs, and she shut the hell up.
She asked the greatest question. She asked the greatest question in the movie. What was it?
Well, she asked.
Wait, she said, did she say, is this legal?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Is this all legal?
Yeah.
You know goddamn well it is. That was the greatest question in the movie because she knew it wasn't legal, but she needed him to tell her.
Yeah, to make her feel good about herself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because hey, we got this loot. It's all good. And where did his wife used to work before they met?
KFC. She said, "I go back to Arkansas. I go back and work at KFC."
God damn it! Yeah. What the hell you talk about? I am a goddamn chicken technician. God damn it!
But I tell you one thing, she wasn't stupid because at the end of the movie, she still had that diamond bracelet on her wrist.
That's right.
Exactly. So
even though she was back working at the chicken place.
So here's where we now get caught up in her hillbilly ass wanted who to come to stay with
her brother.
Her
Lord
brother.
have mercy. Lord have mercy.
He was trouble when he showed up.
Now this is why you have to study the real life of Barry Steele, because let me pull this up for you. And Hollywood, I get why they do some things, but some things you shouldn't stray so far away on, because it's not good when you do that. So to expand his smuggling capacity, Steele also hired William Bottom, his ex-brother-in-law, as a pilot from 1980 on. Bottoms was the main pilot in Steele's smuggling enterprise, often flying with Camp while Steele oversaw planning and operations. Now, I don't know if they meant that that this was one, because he was married 3 times. The one that's in the movie, that was the last flight. I don't know if it was from one of the
Previous wives.
2 ex-wives that the guy, and I don't know if the brother was, just really the fuck up, but I would have to believe that that's kind of there. But they don't, my point is, they don't mention that one of the pilots is his brother-in-law, ex-brother-in-law that he had on it. However, that could have been him at the end of the movie. That could have been him, because that dude was down with him like 4 times.
Right, right.
And the brother-in-law, but that's why I say, be sure and check that out in terms of the write-up on it.
Okay, and on the end, if I may be mistaken, on the end, wasn't it one of his pilots that they didn't know where he was, that he wasn't sure if he was still alive? I was reading the because it was
when the movie went off.
Right.
Yeah, he fell off the grid.
Yeah, so maybe that was his brother-in-law.
Yeah, it may have been, but he had some talented flyers. But one of his ex-brother-in-laws was one of those particular instances. So they got him once they found out that he was double-crossing the CIA or participating with this. They're like, okay, we're gonna start bringing the goddamn Contras to Arkansas to have them trained, which I didn't even understand that kind of stuff. I mean, and that just tell you white folks come up with some of the most stupid shit that you could even think. So these motherfuckers like, we get to America, bro, forget a war, we gonna go make it do what it do.
That's right.
And so they probably were responsible for the uptick in illegal immigration in Arkansas.
They could have been, because a lot of them dudes went missing.
Who was the first lady of Arkansas at that time?
Oh shit.
The first lady of Arkansas. I don't know. Did they mention that?
Yeah, they mentioned it.
There was a lot of political stuff going on in there, but I didn't pay her much attention.
I'm a roll the dice and say, was it Nancy Reagan?
Nah.
Oh yeah, I don't know then. That's the only political figure I can think of.
She was, the first lady was Hillary Clinton.
Well, yeah, because I did hear Bill's voice in there when they said call the governor. When he told her that's the governor, that was Bill Clinton. When he told her the governor is on the phone.
Yeah, he was the governor of Arkansas.
Yeah, okay.
The first lady from Arkansas.
Yeah.
And you know, Brother Craig, they didn't go into it. All we know is that there was a conversation with the district attorney, and then he got off. So we would have to assume that Clinton knew what was going on with the trafficking of all this stuff. Yeah.
It was all tied together. And who was the president at that time?
Reagan, right?
So who was in concert with each other at the time?
Reagan, Bush, North, all those dudes.
And Clinton is what party affiliation?
Democrat.
And Reagan is what party affiliation?
Republican.
So that means that the Republicans and the Democrats do what?
Fight against each other. They are in cahoots. The philosophy, the system, and the game. Gosh darn it.
Okay.
Yes, sir. But I'm on Democrat.
Yeah, and then you try to explain this to the dumb Negroes that Trump is working for the damn Democrats.
Yes, sir.
Man, no, that's impossible. But now you can go to the movie and goddamn Clinton and Ronald Reagan on the same damn team.
Yep.
You can go do the research and see with the Carlyle group that damn me, Osama bin Laden family and the Bush family are in business together.
Yes, sir.
You can see that Obama is related to damn George Bush and Dick Cheney by blood. But you want me to believe that the Democrats are all about democracy. So you want me to believe that Clinton didn't know that the damn Contra rebels were coming in? Come on, man.
Right. At some point, you gotta use some common sense and figure out what's what.
All right. So they said the money was coming in faster than he could hide.
That's right.
And so why didn't the bank call the law enforcement?
Because they were making money. They were getting paid. And when the black guy showed up for the FBI, the main business in the town was having a bank. And you know, so that's something that I don't understand, Brother Craig. It's like you would think that the bank would have been more sophisticated in helping him launder all that money by investing in other things, but it didn't seem like they were doing that. At all.
Right, because the way the girl looked when he came in there and said, I'd like to deposit this money, and he threw that suitcase up on the desk, and she looked at it, it was like, that was more money than she'd ever thought she could ever see in her life, so the bank couldn't be up to par, you know?
Yep.
I mean, bruh, this dude could have rented multiple storage units in Dallas and had motherfuckers transporting it, put it in his great grandmama name.
Right.
And not having that shit nowhere around, you know. Right. But at the end of the day, this is where he was limited. What was Barry Seals beyond his technical expertise with flying? What was his biggest asset? From the
to his ability to make it happen, to deliver.
That's true.
Okay.
And he could think. I mean, but he did say that he should have asked more questions. Even though he could think, he didn't think it all the way, all the way through.
He definitely was very spontaneous. I thought his biggest attribute was his personality. He was a very people person, friendly type cat. And when he got the money, look at what he was doing. He spread the money around the whole town.
That's right.
In terms of little league games, all of it. He spread all of that around. But again, the mistake of letting the criminal ass
brother-in-law.
And you know something, I'm sorry, go ahead, Craig.
No, that was it.
You know, something else that highlights for me, and I've seen this in multiple in real life situations as well as movies. It's very interesting to me how people will turn their back, will turn a blind eye to what they know isn't right if they're benefiting from it.
So what do I tell you? The issue has been for grassroots advocates and revolutionaries, the lack of what?
Integrity of culture.
The lack of what? For grassroots revolutionaries.
Spirituality? I don't know.
Money, status, and material.
Oh, yeah, right. I got you. Yeah.
So that's how you get people to look the other way. The drug dealers understand that. The criminals understand it.
Yep.
The grassroots people want everybody to be spiritually and culturally on the level that they are. And that ain't gonna fucking happen.
That's not how the game is played. That's right. That's right.
And influence them to roll in with your agenda.
By any means necessary.
That doesn't involve drugs and goddamn prostitution, homosexuals. Now we'll use some prostitutes and some homosexuals to gain leverage to what we need, but from that overall standpoint, we got to get in the game and leverage money and status and materialism to buy people out just like the evil people.
Just like everybody else, yeah.
Exactly. So the bank, in the movie, the bank started creating a smaller vault, and Barry said, "Oh, y'all are creating this for me." He said, "No, this is for everybody else." They gave him the main vault. They gave him the main goddamn vault. So now back then the FDIC was only insuring for
100,000. Yeah.
Well, 100 some thousand. So who was it that bust the case wide open on it? A damn brother.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, the FBI, the black guy.
That's what I was gonna say. That brother.
So the brother like, wait a minute.
Why is there so much money in MENA?
So
in all these banks.
He got down to do a site visit, and he don't see no industry. You see what I'm saying? Now, what would have been smart? For him to now invest in a company, not just a shell company, but a real
companies, right? And build up the town, create industry, open a Walmart.
But thinking about all that kind of shit. And he was right down the road from Walmart headquarters. God dang. Okay, but there's a lot he could have done.
Yep.
And so, okay. So I said the Alphabet Boys all rated him at the same goddamn time.
Right.
The DEA, the ATL, the state police came in, and then the FBI said, "God damn it, we got it. We want it." So they took him in. He goes to the Attorney General, and the Attorney General gets a call from Governor Clinton.
That's right.
And he asked him to go outside. I thought this was so profound. And it just shows the magnitude of how high up he was connected. He's out there joking with all four branches. And he said, "Hey, man, I'll get all y'all a damn Cadillac." And they said, "You'll get each one of us Cadillac?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "You trying to bribe us?" He said, "No. What I'm trying to do is get y'all something because I'm going to walk out of here.
Right.
I'm going to walk out of here today." And they're like, "Man, you ain't going nowhere with it." And when that Attorney General came out, what did he say?
Let him go. He's free to go.
Let him go.
Yeah.
And so what did that demonstrate? What did that demonstrate?
What did I miss?
He said, "What does that demonstrate?" That demonstrates that law matters little when you have political power and or clout.
The power of politics.
Yes, sir.
But I thought politics. ain't shit.
Politics, everything.
That's what I was gonna say, and that's why he turned to them and told them, "You should have took the Cadillac."
Right.
Power at
They
politics.
busted him. They busted him. They let him go, and he set it back up in business again.
Yep. Bigger and better. And you know something else that was funny to me. You would think at some point, you think he'd have realized, if they can do all this to set me up, then they can do so much more to shut me down. And it's like he was not thinking 1 + 1. I don't know. That's crazy.
But I thought he did when he started once. Well, maybe that was too late.
When he said, "Let's get everything out of here."
Huh?
When he said, "Let's get everything out of the hangar. Let's get everything out of here."
No, when he started recording and marking the tapes and telling people, it was probably too late.
Oh yeah, that was after he had already gone to court, and yeah, it was too late at that point.
Okay.
His days were numbered at that point, and that's why he was making the tapes.
Yeah, exactly. But this is the power of politics.
Yes, sir.
And so this dude is connected with the DEA, Oliver North, and now they want him to get on the good foot and maneuver what he should. And he was stupid because he didn't want to do no time. He should have just went on and went to goddamn jail.
Yeah.
And goddamn Medellin cartel would have set him up. They would have set him up. But other than that, and we don't know if it was really the Medellin cartel, but that's what they wanted everybody to believe.
Right.
But at the end of the day, the government wanted him dead, and the Medellin cartel wanted him dead. And this brings us to the most powerful part when Ronald Reagan and Tamani referenced it earlier. But it's the most powerful part in the goddamn movie, because what Ronald Reagan did, based on the photos, the surveillance that Barry Seal was able to gather, they created the illusion for the American public that Daniel Ortega and the Sandinistas in Nicaragua government were selling drugs, but all along it was the United States government.
Fake news.
So I'm gonna ask you, was that the distraction? Because I couldn't figure out why all of a sudden, I knew it was a problem, but all of a sudden now there's Ronald and Nancy Reagan sitting on this couch talking about just say no. And I know all this stuff was going on in the background, but was that the distraction? When they switched to, just like we're talking about how they flipped it to make it seem like it was the war was between the other two factions, and when it was the United States all along. That's going on in the subliminal mind, but they give you, or at least to me, they shot the scene of Nancy and
yeah.
The distraction. Was that the fake news so you didn't see what's really going on?
No, that wasn't the fake news, but I'm glad you brought it out. That was put in the movie, just like in Kill the Messenger, to show you the hypocrisy of the United States government. 1 minute saying just say no, while simultaneously they're selling the dope. But this particular part was when Ronald Reagan was sitting in the Oval Office, and after you go back and look at it, after he got the film, the footage, remember Barry Seal asked, "What are y'all gonna do with these photos?"
Right.
And he was like, "Oh, you ain't gotta worry about it. It's gonna be private." Whoop de whoop. They put the shit out on the news.
Yep.
And so that's what Reagan said, hey, we got Daniel Ortega. These people are selling dope. And what the American public gonna believe? They're gonna believe their government.
That's right. Yep.
And they were willing to sacrifice this guy and his family. They're willing to sacrifice all of them. In order to, go ahead
and I wouldn't be surprised, Brother Craig, if that was the plan from the very beginning, to set him up so he could be killed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because and fully, that's when he started making those tapes. When he saw his picture on the TV, he was like, okay, but we got to get out of here. because they come and they're gonna take everything. So put some stuff on because they can't take that from you. That's when he realized his life was over.
Exactly, because he was only sentenced to 1,000 hours of community service.
Right, which is a joke.
Okay, but at what point do the two of you think he should have recognized that game over? Because we say now that he recognized it, it was too late. When he recognized it, it was too late.
Well, see, and that's the point of we're talking about the importance of thinking, the importance of having spiritual insight and culture. If you get in any game and you have not elevated spiritually and culturally, it's already gonna be too late.
Yeah, you lost before you get started.
You lost before you got started because the likelihood that you're gonna be able to switch gears, shift field, in the game is gonna be highly remote, highly unlikely, and therein lies the overall issue, and you got to know the game before you get in it, whether it's illegal or legal. He did the best he could with what he had, but you know, he's somebody that self-admitted that he flew by the seat of his pants. Yeah. He never really thought things through.
Yeah, he leapt before he looked. And you have to not only understand the game, but you got to understand the players in the game. Exactly. I am often amazed by people who get involved with, work for, support people who they know are straight gangster killers, would do whatever to their enemies, which should make your silly ass think that, hell, at some point he might do that to me if he gets upset with me. But he for whatever reason, and this might be the whole propaganda of America and how we're raised and the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, blah, blah, blah. He believed in his heart of hearts that America was going to do right by him, despite the fact that they were doing dirty to everybody else. He thought they were going to do right.
That's one of the lessons my father taught me as a very young girl. Watch how people treat other people. And I don't think my daddy was thinking on America level. You know? Watch how people treat other people, because that's how they're going to treat you when they no longer need you.
Yep. That's it. That's it.
So all of this, how he ended up getting killed was accurate. He was eliminated in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, outside of the halfway house that he had to report to. And it was only, I think they said 3 weeks into his community service sentence. And so that's information that you should read up on. But again, there's a docu-series or a TV series that comes out that's directly in relationship to all of this called Snowfall.
Snowfall? Snowfall, okay.
That is being told from the angle of the CIA, DEA agent working with Freeway Rick Ross.
Yep.
That's and I ain't gonna lie to you. It's cold-blooded. And to the point of what you asked earlier, Sister Papu, what I want people to be able to take away from the movie curriculum or even the book curriculum or whatever teaching tools that we bring forward, I want you to be able to expand your mind to become so fluid, so liquid, that you can really start to see the potential of what the United States can do, other entities can do, or the potential of whatever things that we're studying. I want you to be able to go beyond the regular thought process so that you can see. Because see, we're not gonna be in these people's movies. In their meetings. We're not gonna be in their discussion. So we got to be able to beam ourselves into their meeting spiritually. And the only way you're going to do that is to open your mind up and then fill your mind with some of the things that, how they roll. And then that'll give you the ability to expand your thought process as to the potential that they have to impact your life. And when you can do that, then you can start to lay the agenda as to how you need to maneuver in the society. And with a group of talented people like we have, we can really start to help people unlock, unleash, and activate their spiritual power, and then structure themselves on a daily regimen for them to make things happen, to tap into their purposes in life, and begin to set a legacy for their existence.
Yeah, I agree with that. The one thing I like about what I heard you say and all of that was that if what we do, and you do by doing these movies, is get people to expand their mind and tap into the potential that America has to do this. If we can just get them to that point, just to the point where they can tap into the potential that they can do this, then maybe we can move them forward. Maybe.
Say that again, Fody. Say that again.
What I heard, what I thought, and he can correct me if I didn't, what I thought I heard him say is that we're trying to, but all of this, but all we're doing, we're trying to get them to expand their mind, to at least get to the potential of what America can do. And I'm saying that if they get to the potential, maybe then we can get them to move off of stuck on, well, there I go. Maybe then we can get them to move off of dead center. If you could, because see, we're not even requesting that you see what they're really doing. If we could just expand your mind enough of the people, expand your mind enough to see the potential, then we stand a chance. But along in that, I wanted to say there's something else.
Wait. Before you go to the next point, and we talked about this yesterday, and you mentioned it a few times. Of all the movies that Brother Craig has reviewed, your favorite one is what?
My favorite two?
Your favorite one. You can name two, but you still gonna say the first one.
Yeah, Matrix.
Exactly. So we the only way Morpheus was successful with Neo is that he had to awaken Neo as to who he was. He had to help him realize that you are in a matrix. You're in a system that's not real. So he had to awaken Neo to get him to realize that, he was the one, and he wasn't living, life wasn't what he thought it was. So that's what we have to do. We have to get our people to realize that it really is that. Get our people to realize that the America that you have been shown is the matrix. It's like when he sat down with Neo and they were both sitting in those chairs, and he said, "This is America that you see. This is the real America." So we got to show our people the real America. And one thing that makes it easier for us is like Brother Craig and I, we talk about some of the pseudo solutions that our people are promoting, like sovereign status and separating. It's easy to show that that's not going to work, because whenever anyone has done it, whenever anybody's had sovereign status, America has still assassinated them. So we do have evidence, what I'm trying to say, to help our people awaken. And then once we show them the real world, then we have to give them something so they won't go crazy, to let them know that, yeah, this is the real world. It is messed up. However, like Brother Craig always says, there's still some things that we can do if you understand how the real world works. If you understand the philosophy, the system, and the game, then you do have power. And as African people, we do have power and ability that other people don't have never had. That's why they can't figure out how we built shit and how we hid shit that they still can't find. We are still a very, very, very unique people that we don't even realize. But if you just think about what we've been able to do, coming out of slavery, building 200 towns after slavery, the fact that we're still here, the largest export being our culture, we are still a phenomenal people. Imagine if we had some goddamn sense as it relates to who we are and what we are. I mean, seriously, and I say this often, my oldest daughter, Tama, she's very studious, good student, studying well, blah, blah. Sakina is a hustler. She's like me. I can put that child in New York, and she will find a way to make $1 legally. So they're both intelligent in their own way. And Cheo is both of them, but he don't know that. So I have to get him to realize that he's both of them. He's a very powerful young man, but he don't see it because he's only 19. And all of our children have the ability to be more than what they currently are. And our jobs as adults who know better, like I always say, we got to go get our kids because they will never be Jesus living in the environment that they're living in because it'll never come to fruition. It's too oppressive. So if we believe that every child who's born is only a Messiah waiting to discover his or her inner divinity, if we believe that every Black child is Neo, every Black child is T'Challa, every Black child is Malcolm X, then how the hell are they going to become those things living in an oppressive environment like America's inner cities and ghettos? We got to go get our kids. And fortunately, unfortunately, we're going to have to bypass a lot of parents. That's why having that conscious community center, that institution is so important. Because a lot of people say it starts with the family, it starts with the family. No, motherfucker, what if your family fucked up? Then you what? You don't have no start. So that community, that village got to step up where parents are, well, you know, Fundi, the group process, the Keep Land Academy, sometimes the parents aren't capable for whatever reason. And the community got to step up. So yeah, our issues that we got to go let our people know that shit that you believe about America, like Brother Craig is always saying, they sell you on the bullshit. All this other dirt that they're doing is the real America. And we got to get our people to realize that is the real America.
And the hardest part of that is having the patience. Yeah. Because, you know, and that's why I think you're so integral as the leader of this whole thing, because you are able.
Be quiet.
But no, seriously, like Brother Craig said, in this movie, the one attribute that what's the damn man name? The star. I'm gonna call him Tom Cruise.
That's his name.
Yeah. The one attribute he had was his personality. And yeah. I have seen you bring chaos. I have seen you bring two sides together and still be charming. You know what I'm saying? And don't ruffle the feathers. And that's a very good quality to have in a leader.
Yeah.
You know, our person is going to do something, and you have it. Because I'm like I told you, between me, Brother Chris, I see the shit. We ain't got time for this. I got to give you the goddamn castor oil, let you go sit that shit out. But it was the same way when we were doing with the shrine.
Yeah.
We were taking people, and it's still gonna be in spirituality. You got to take this group of people who've been believing all their life. Like my brother-in-law told me one time when I first joined the shrine, I became a minister, and me and him talked. My two brother-in-laws, because I got two brother-in-laws that are ministers. Mm-hmm. And they wanted to sit down with me because they was going to save me from this cult or That's whatever right. the hell they thought they was going to save me from, okay? So we sat down and talked, and we talked, and one of my brother-in-laws looked at me and said, he never said it wasn't true. He looked at me and said, if that is your logic, then I got to trash everything I believed in. I said, yes. Mm-hmm. And therein lies the problem. Yep. It destroys, and people feel, and then my brother-in-law started to feel like, damn, I've been believing in a lie.
Yeah, and it's scary for people. Yeah.
I had to reach and get him, but that's okay. You once believed in Santa Claus too.
That's right.
Now that you know better,
right?
Can we move better?
Yeah, and again, that's why it's so important that we have something to offer when we shatter that reality.
Yes.
Because like Brother Craig says, they're the book of Brother Craig, there's cognitive dissonance.
Yes.
We've been raised to believe one thing on one side, but then a new reality says, well, that shit ain't true. So then our people are like, well, fuck, you know.
What do I do?
And they're going to go back to what's comfortable, which is what we don't want, because that has them in the matrix not doing anything. But again, we already know that everybody won't come out of it. I'm sorry, Brother Craig, go ahead.
And that's where those of us who are the hybrid have to leverage the money, status, and materialism, because those are the three things that the cracker produces, that regardless of whether a Negro is goddamn Jehovah's Witness, Nation of Islam, Crip of Blood, prostitute, homosexual. Those are the three things that any of those Negroes believe is real.
Mm-hmm.
Although it's not real. Status can be real from a righteous standpoint or an evil standpoint, but in terms of most of what we see as status, it's all an illusion. Yeah. And as y'all were just talking, I was just thinking about a case, an analysis I'm gonna do when I get some money. I'm gonna get some people to get me a pound of cow shit, a pound of cow shit, and a pound of horse shit, and I'm going to make a beautiful big ass cake. I'm gonna put the cow shit, horse shit inside of the cake, and we're gonna build around it, and it's gonna be beautiful. And I'm gonna do another cake that's not gonna be as beautiful, but it's gonna be a real cake. And I'm going to ask people which cake do they want to eat. And I'm gonna see. I'm gonna see. And I'm gonna show they motherfucking through the cake analysis how easy it is to manipulate the human mind based on the surface.
Presentation.
The presentation. Because inside of this beautiful ass cake, it's gonna be some horse shit and some cow shit. And I'm not gonna even tell you that it's in there until you damn near about to put it in your goddamn mouth. And that's where we're at as people. And that's how the United States government works. They give you the image of that which is pretty for the United States, but inside of it, it's full of shit.
Yep.
It's full of shit.
Yep.
But it's icing and all that other stuff on the outside, so it looks good. It looks appealing to the eye.
Yeah.
But once you get beyond the surface and you got to now cut into it, now you start to see it's full of shit.
Yes, sir.
And this is the reality of where we're at. And unfortunately, when you look at that scripture, Matthew 7th chapter, verse 15, inside of their own scripture, it says, beware of false prophets which come to you in sheep clothing, but inwardly they're ravening wolves. It's telling you about bullshit right there.
Yep.
It ain't telling you to beware of Brother Tamani, Brother Craig, Sister Fabu, because we're wolves. It's telling you to beware of the sheep, because once you go beyond the surface of the sheep, inwardly, it's bullshit. But most people don't know how to think. They damn sure don't know how to critically think. And so you need to be able, since most people will never be a part of any criminal enterprise, and they will never be a part of any political leadership or any other leadership, how the hell are you going to learn some elements of how they operate if you don't look at some of their movies?
Yep.
Or read some of the books. And we know most of our people don't like to read, so I say, okay, let's do the movie experiment. And now that can start to get us in tune. Then you go and start to research some of the subject matter from the movie online, and that'll help us elevate to a higher.
Okay. Speaking on that, because I'm gonna have to run. Speaking on that, to tie this back, I've noticed a couple of things, and I was wondering. I noticed that a lot of these movies take place in Louisiana in the South. Is that
Yeah.
intentional, and why, like why, like this one was what, like in Baton Rouge and then Kill the Messenger. They're all in the South and in
That's where all
Arkansas.
the criminals are born. That's where he was born in.
they love shooting movies in New Orleans and in and around.
But does it have anything to do with them being coastal towns, being on the coast to make it easier for them planes to, I mean, it doesn't have anything to do with that?
Well, I wouldn't say that, because for the most part, Houston could be considered coastal because it's only 40 miles from the goddamn coast.
Yeah, but they run their traffic through I-10. I mean, whenever they do something, it's I-10. So Houston on the map too.
I mean, but in terms of New Orleans is with the rich cultural aspect, and yeah, we do have an international airport down there that you can't get in and get out, but we are farther from the coast than you all are.
So then that's not the connection. I'm just looking for the connection as to why. And you would say
Galveston is closer to you all than we are to Gulfport, Biloxi, and so that, I mean, it's a part of it, but it's really more.
scenic.
New Orleans, South Louisiana offers them a lot of different things, and the history and all of that. And you already know, damn near any movie dealing with voodoo or anything like that is going to be filmed in New Orleans, even if it's supposedly based on hate or something like that. So it's pretty unique, and it shifted when Hurricane Katrina hit to Shreveport, North Louisiana. But I will say this, we were the first state in the country to offer movie tax credit. And that's why a lot of the movies started coming to Louisiana. And that happened right before Hurricane Katrina hit. And then when Katrina hit and knocked out New Orleans, that's how the movie industry started to come up here. As a matter of fact, I'll scan an article and send it to you and to Monty about, they used to call us back in 2005, Hollywood of the South. Because Ice Cube, a lot of people shot movies here back then because of that tax credit. But Shreveport couldn't sustain after New Orleans got back online, because our flights and things like that are much more expensive and whatnot. And so, but yeah, there's an affinity. But now, Sister Pabu, based on what we led the country to do, all states in the country now basically have movie tax credit, because it's an easy way for you to put your city or town on the map and, try to get some international, national recognition. So yes, if you were going to do a documentary or something, man, you can, Texas, whatever, you can take advantage of the movie tax credit as a part of what you're trying to do. Yeah. So, but
well, that's good to know for the BGN media people, huh?
Yeah.
And
that's one of the strengths and the strategies of having ambassadors on the ground around the country, so they can bring those sorts of regional, local, that information that we wouldn't normally have because we don't live there. They can bring that to us and we can use it to our advantage. So yeah, that's a part of it.
Yeah, but that's all that I have for today. And I'm gonna get up and go do some work, and we'll try to finish up this house. I will leave y'all with this. You do know, if you haven't heard, we Shreveport is home to the Bayou Classic next year.
Yes, sir. Congrats on that. Congrats on that.
Yeah, so there's some things that we need
I
to
saw you when you was down there and they had to get you the pass. You say, well, I'm gonna go out here till they give me the pass. And I was with you when they called you and told you, yeah, maybe you can go back in there. So I be trolling.
Yeah. Yeah.
I saw your new bike.
Oh yeah, man, we rolling. I'm gonna ride that mug today. Before I got this straight. But that's gonna be something that we need to talk about in terms of BGN doing something up here, because it's a good weekend. I'm gonna be bogged down with a couple other groups related or whatever, but it's something that we can talk about as a fundraiser for the organization in the coming months and whatnot. But I just wanted to put that on your mind.
Yeah, Tamani and Floyd can do that. They travelers, they world travelers. Tamani already vowed to have a clipboard every time he go to them, and you're right, that would be one of the things.
Girl, I am not joking. I am not joking.
Coming back home to Shreveport, they definitely do need to be there. And add something on that fundraising page that you can put up already. Put something on that. I mean, can it go there too?
Add something like what?
What he talking about, the just at least a mention on that fundraising page, and mention the Bio Classic coming back, and we plan to be there too. BGN plans to be there too.
You mean put that on the fundraising page?
I mean, some kind of way, advertise it.
Oh, yes, ma'am. All right.
Some kind of way.
Okay. All right, Craig, what you saying? Are you done? We good?
Yeah.
Cool. I'm assuming you have no. Okay, good. All right. So with that, I want to thank everybody for making the movie review. I appreciate it. If you want more information on the other movies that we reviewed, please visit the media website at blackgoldmedia.net. With that, have a wonderful day. Enjoy your weekend. Always remember that no one can do everything, but if everyone does something, everything will get done. And absolutely, always, always, always remember that nothing is more sacred than the liberation and salvation of Black people. So with that, you guys have a wonderful weekend. God bless you, and I will see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right.